Hey there, Chris McCarthy here with Brand Identified, and today I have a 6-prompt sequence, an AI prompt sequence, that I'm going to give to you to define your brand guidelines for your business. Now, your brand guidelines are everything that's included as far as your visual identity is concerned. That's your logo usage, your logo placement, your colors, your typography, your icons, your graphics, even everything down to your messaging, your tone of voice, and your positioning. So we want to develop these brand guidelines to make sure that your brand is being represented across all of your consumer touch points to build awareness and recognition, and also making sure that everything that's developed from your marketing campaigns, all your designs, are completely on brand. So I want to show you how I'm using AI now, and specifically BrandOptimizer.AI custom GPT, to develop these brand guidelines and the strategy behind it using a 6-prompt sequence that's going to cover all areas of your business. So first off, if you go over to BrandIdentified.com and look under Design and Build Services and Solutions and scroll down under Visual Identity Systems, we offer a brand guideline service. If you were to click on that, you can actually run a free audit and get a custom assessment for your brand guidelines. But what I want to show you today is a 6-prompt sequence that we've developed that then we would input into BrandOptimizer.AI. So I want to make sure that you are going over to BrandOptimizer.AI, launching the custom GPT, and not just dumping this into the generic ChatGPT or Claude or any other open AI interface. That does not have access to the brand identified knowledge base, which is based off of 25 years working with hundreds of different clients. So make sure you're heading over to BrandOptimizer.AI and inputting this prompt sequence. So once you launch the sequence, it's going to open up ChatGPT, but into the Brand Optimizer Custom GPT. Now, this is the 6-prompt sequence that we're going to go through today. So first is a strategy prompt. The next is an execution prompt. The next is an audit and an optimization prompt. Then we have a template and a tool prompt. We have a role-based prompt, and we have an integration prompt. So the first one here is this strategy prompt, and this is help me build a complete strategy for brand guidelines that aligns with our brand and our business goals. So you're just going to add that into the custom GPT, hit enter, and it's going to access the brand identified knowledge base. Now, first off, it's going to give you a little bit of a summary here, letting you know what it's actually doing. And then it's going to start working up that strategy for you. So first off, we're going to start with the strategic core. And with all of these prompts, it actually links you back off to the website where you can have a little audit tool and an assessment tool. So for each of these, so if you're defining your purpose, mission, vision, and your values, use the 10 framework questions to align your internal compass. And we have a link off to an audit tool there. And we also have an assessment tool. We have an audit tool and an assessment tool for your ideal client and audience targeting. And we also have those available for competitor differentiation and brand mapping. Step number 2 is to define messaging and tone with a messaging system. So it gives you some options to do there and another prompt to go ahead and use. Step number 3 is build the visual system. So logo usage guidelines, color palettes, typography, photography, and the icons. Step number 4, implement usage and enforcement system. So making sure that these guidelines are being represented within your band or your brand. Link to business objectives, and then it gives you some next steps. Once again, links you off to some audit and assessment tools. So the second prompt that we're going to be doing here is the execution prompt. And this is give me a step-by-step execution plan to implement brand guidelines effectively into our business. So I'm going to copy that and paste that prompt into the custom GPT. Going to give me a quick little summary here of what it's going to do. And then we have the steps. So step 1 is going to be to finalize the brand guideline system. Gives you a tooltip here. Gives you the steps. Step number 2 is to train your internal teams on these new guidelines. Everything from the departments of leadership, marketing, sales, product, and human resources. Step number 3 is to align all of the templates. Step number 4 is to update all your digital touch points. So your website, your landing pages, your email, your ads, and your social media. Step number 5 is to roll out to external vendors and partners. So that's all your freelancers, your agencies, any type of print vendors you're working with, and any type of influencer or your affiliates. Step number 6 is to embed the guidelines into operations. Step number 7 is to establish a brand audit system to make audits and checks to your website, all your marketing campaigns, client-facing assets, social feeds, and new product designs. Step number 8 is to create a culture of brand stewardship. So making sure that everybody owns these brand guidelines. So that is the second prompt. The third one is going to be our audit and our optimization prompt right here. This is going to be audit our current brand guidelines and recommend improvements or optimizations that we should make. So I'll paste that into here, launch that prompt. Once again, it's accessing the brand identified knowledge base. And what it's going to ask now is for you to input some of your current brand guidelines so then it can analyze those. So audit criteria, strategic foundation, brand voice, and messaging. So you just want to answer some of these questions here, and then it's going to be able to produce the best audit and optimization support for you. Visual identity systems, implementation, enforcement, business alignment. So then please upload your brand guidelines files now. So once you upload these files into this database, it's going to analyze those, and then it's going to give you the best framework to move forward. So once it has those, we're going to move on to our fourth prompt, which is our template and our tool prompt. This is going to be provide a fill-in-the-blank template or framework I can use to create or improve our brand guidelines. So I'll paste this one in here. Once again, this is the fourth prompt, and it's the template and the tool prompt. Giving me the overview here, what it's going to do. So now it's building out the brand guidelines template for you. So use this framework to build or optimize your own branded PDF, Notion, or slide deck. So number 1, brand foundation. So you need to define your purpose, vision, mission, and your core values. It's giving you a little insert here. So why do we exist beyond making money? Insert your brand purpose. What future are we working to create? Insert your vision statement here. So define those. Step number 2 is your audience and your positioning. So this is your ideal customer persona. So input their age, their role, their pain points, their goals, where you reach them. So where are they hanging out, where you can find them. And then you develop your brand positioning statement using this template right here. Messaging system. So this talks about your brand voice and your tone guidelines. Gives you a little template here. Then it helps you develop your tagline. Then it's going to help you identify your visual identity system. So this is defining your primary logo, alternate versions, spacing and sizing, and incorrect usage. It's going to define your color palette, your typography, your image style, and your layout guidelines. Step number 5 is implementation and templates. So this is any type of slide deck, social graphics, web banners, email signatures, and internal documents that you use. So you just kind of roll this out across everything. So that is the fourth prompt. The fifth one is the role-based prompt. So this is going to be how it applies to different roles or titles or people within your organization. So that is how should and it's either going to be founder, CMO, marketing manager, approach brand guidelines in a growing business. So I'm going to input that prompt into here, and then I'm just going to break this down. I'm going to use marketing manager for this example and go ahead and enter that prompt. So this is going to be specifically for the marketing manager and how they would be able to apply these in their growing business. So the strategic role of a marketing manager. So first is to be the guardian of brand integrity. Second is to translate the strategy into execution. And then responsibilities in a scaling environment. So you want to audit and evolve the guidelines, create a brand playbook and growth teams, support cross-functional brand alignment, systemize brand training and access, and then watch for these growth stage brand pitfalls. So these are some tripping points that businesses often discover and find out themselves in. So you want to watch out for those. And then it gives you some recommended tools to move forward with. That leads us to the last prompt today, and it's our sixth prompt, and that's going to be our integration prompt. So now that we've developed all this, and we have all this information, and we've continued to prompt this custom GPT, we've got all the information we need, now this prompt is going to help us integrate this into your business. So it is, how does brand guidelines connect with or support other areas like marketing, sales, or operations? So this is going to tell you exactly how to implement this strategy and guidelines into marketing, sales, and operations. So first off, it's going to give you the marketing. So first off, function of that is to attract and engage your audience. And brand guidelines impact your messaging, your recognition and your trust, your tone of voice. It gives you a couple examples there. And then it gives you how you're going to implement this into your sales team. Gives you some examples there, and brand guidelines impact, where it impacts the sales team, and then how you're going to go ahead and implement this into your operations team. And then we've got product and UX design. So it gives you the function of that, gives you the brand guidelines and the impact, and then it also gives you a couple examples. And now we're moving on to leadership and strategy. So your leadership team, how they're going to be able to implement these brand guidelines. And then it just kind of gives you the next step. So now that you've inputted all 6 of these specific prompts, you've kind of essentially built out your entire strategy for developing your brand guidelines. And now you can continue to prompt this. It even gives you a little bit of a kind of a prompt right here to start off if you want to create your own brand governance plan for rollout and enforcement. So that is how we're utilizing BrandOptimizer.AI with this 6 prompt sequence to develop brand strategy guidelines for your business. So head over to BrandOptimizer.AI, input this 6-step prompt sequence, and start developing your own strategy today.